Owen Farrell.
Yeah.
Massive news, Andrew. Massive news that I did not see coming. He has stepped down from his position as England captain.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming. Did you? Honestly?
No. Well, we were in the car, weren't we, on the army camp, and news broke. And it's very sad that obviously all the abuse that's gone on, and he feels he has to step away for the mental health of him and his family. And straight away you're thinking, what? He's the ultimate competitor, isn't he? He's the one guy. And I sit there and I think, I don't reckon he looks at the social media. I don't think he's like me and you, sitting on the bog, hiding from the kids on Instagram or on Twitter, just looking at what's going on in the world. I don't think that's him. But ultimately, the messages have got back, and the feeling, the ill feeling. And if we're being honest, some of it he's brought on himself about how he's carried himself and the things he's done in terms of the tackles and all this stuff. Not the abuse, but the critiquing. You have to be able to critique. And then Mark McCall's talked about it started in the mainstream media, and then I'm like, is that me and Jim? Are we mainstream media?
Hey, don't put me into this.
And
We're not
like,
mainstream.
Has anyone been at any live shows where Jim's told his stories about Marbella?
But it does make you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I hope that when we do what we do, well, I hope that. I'm speaking for myself, Andrew, not both of us, but maybe
Speak
both
for
of
me.
us. Well, I think we have a responsibility. That's what I kind of feel like. And I think with the stuff around Owen Farrell, I don't know what newspapers it was in or what was being said. I can't remember. I did the behind the paywall most newspapers, but I know that the momentum and the narrative gathered around Owen Farrell with the red card before the World Cup and everything around that.
That wasn't a red card.
That wasn't a red card. His dad got brought into it, got
Yeah.
asked at a press conference, and you could start seeing stuff being put in there that, no, this isn't okay, the way that he's being spoken
Well, it
about.
was a red card, but it was banned.
Of course, and then wasn't banned, and then all the drama, which wasn't his fault. Like, as much as he put the high tackle in, which caused the yellow card, red card, we were doing the podcast at the time as it was happening.
Yeah.
The from what I gather and the stuff that I've seen is around being booed when they played against Fiji.
Yeah.
And he comes up on the big screen. That's your England captain, right?
Yeah.
And you think about the media in this country, in the UK especially. I don't know what it's like in other countries. You think of the David Beckham stuff. I watched the doc with Beckham. You remember the stuff around Argentina where Simeone flicks the heel up and gets sent off, and all the stuff, the death threats and everything. You forget that they're human beings, right? Wayne Rooney's had the same. You look at all the racial stuff that Marcus Rashford's going through that's out there in the public domain on social media that they're having to deal with. So I'll start with this and we can go further into it. This isn't a rugby issue. The stuff with Wayne Barnes, the stuff with Tom Foley, the stuff with Owen Farrell, it's a societal issue.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what things are at the minute. And as bulletproof and as thick-skinned as Owen Farrell is, you're breaking through any human being if you keep going. Like, at some point, someone's going to break. And a brave decision to step down, the fact that he's put himself out there, putting his family first. Imagine the pressure you must be under as England captain, all the scrutiny that comes with that anyway, and the expectation, and his story and the way that he carries himself, which he's not a warm character. No. And I'm not saying you have to be a warm character. He's got a Johnny Sexton about him. He's got a Dan Bigger. They probably have the same kind of things, but it's cut through now. Like, no one's bulletproof. And for him to step down was massive.
Yeah. It's a huge shame. And the facts are, when you say that when you say it's a societal issue, you're dead right. And rugby's kind of been, we've always kind of looked at rugby as a different fan base to football, where the abuse is harsh as you like, and you have to segregate fans from different clubs in that because of how tense it is. And we were chatting yesterday with the TNT boys and at Leicester, and it was like, this is now heavily involved in rugby.
Of course.
But the rugby crowds have changed massively.
Yeah, younger.
And we want as many fans to get to games as possible, but it is a societal issue where everyone can pick up their phone, can abuse someone. I get loads of shit, and I'm not saying this is about me at all, but I just laugh it off. But at some point, something gets you, and obviously something has got Owen Farrell, maybe not on social media, but the whole fact around what you said, the booing when he's on screen by essentially some of his own fans. And you think back to how you can compare what he's going through, or how you can put yourself in that position. It's very difficult. I'm pretty flippant with you sometimes about being Scotland and we're good enough to play for England. It's a throwaway comment. I look back to it when I played for England. No one wanted me to play for England because I was playing because Johnny was injured. And I knew that, but you have to try and cope with it somehow. And for Faz, I can't ever imagine getting booed by you. I mean, I can because I got booed by the England fans as well because I was shite. But him getting booed as England's skipper, everything he's achieved, England's top point scorer, 100+ caps, one of England's greatest players to have played the game, it must be very difficult. And then you add into that your own private life. So he's got 2 kids. He lives, I presume, he lives in Harpenden, and school run and going shopping and just the simple things that any person can just go and get on with. Does he feel that people are looking at him going, England captain, this has happened, that's happened, he has to wear a baseball cap, and you don't want to have to live your life like that. So maybe a break will be great for him. There's obviously no rugby over the Six Nations for Saracens. And it's interesting, obviously, stepping back from England games, but not Saracens games. There is a bit of a knee injury there as well, from what you hear. And so I think it'd be great for him to have a break. Go and spend a month, and again, depends with the kids and schools and all that stuff. Go and spend a month on holiday. Get away from England, get away from, this is during the Six Nations, get away from the pressures of it and enjoy spending time with your family. And Lawrence Delalio made a good point yesterday. We should be encouraging, and it's the whole balance. We're talking about Marrow and if he's leaving and Faz obviously staying as the marquee player. Should we encourage players to go and take a sabbatical, to go to Japan, play 12 games, come home?
That's what they do in New Zealand.
Yeah. And that's the big thing. Would that help Owen Farrell?
I think he got an opportunity to go to Japan and didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because he's so intense. Imagine being that intense.
Oh, they're pretty intense over there as well.
Yeah, different though, isn't it? Because it's a whole different thing. Because
how far can you run over there?
But the fame and fortune of someone like Owen Farrell, having played with him, know him a little bit, know his mates, he doesn't like any of that.
No.
When he says he wants to get better week on week, he means it. He genuinely means it. And he's cut from that cloth where it's different to his dad. His dad has been in rugby league, I'm going to say more kind of worldy, on the streets of kind of like growing up in that generation where it's a bit different, of course. And Owen's been born into that elitist system of winners.
Yeah.
So that generational kind of shift between his dad and his uncles and then into that. And I was chatting to Ben Earl about it. It's like, is there an expectation now as England captain to be more than the captain on the pitch? And you have to be this charismatic, opinionated character away from it. And again, chatting to Ben Earl about it, and we were speaking about it, when you have someone like Steve and you've got someone like Owen who are literally want to get better week on week, and it's all about winning, and they're so driven, people can't warm to that. And do you have a responsibility as England captain to be a certain way? I don't think you do. I think that someone like Owen probably hates the limelight.
Yeah.
And he'd go out there on Dogshit Park and want to win.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. So maybe it's a reset for him. Maybe it's a reset for him and his family to reassess what the next 4 years look like. Does he come back?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
well, who knows? I mean, it's one of those things.
I hope he does.
Yeah, we hope he does. But if he enjoys not having those pressures in his life and he doesn't need it financially, or he doesn't have that desire anymore, then he doesn't come back. But it will affect him, I think, watching the Six Nations, knowing he's not playing, thinking, because he's the sort of person that thinks he can do a better job.
Well, especially if England go well.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing. So listen, he's got to get his mental health right for him and his family, get a break from the game, but also, you've seen the change in Owen Farrell over the last few weeks, I think, since the World Cup. He has been making more of an effort to go and speak to fans. I remember someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, but it was a guy in London and talking about the Saracens corporate hospitality and all this stuff. And they're like, Owen Farrell was supposed to come up, but he didn't bother. But that was the kind of narrative around it. You don't know why he didn't come up. Like, he might have been injured, might have been having physio, whatever after a game. But someone else said he didn't enjoy doing that. But you do have a responsibility to have to do that sort of thing for your club and your country. And so we're seeing more of Owen doing that. We saw at the weekend, he signed autographs with kids and all that stuff. He was smiling and having pictures. And there's a better side to Owen Farrell than perhaps people see. And that's a responsibility on a lot of people to eke that out of him. And hopefully this change in people's perception and now hopefully changing people's behaviour around how they speak to people sees a better Owen Farrell come back, rested, ready to go, and with his mental health in good shape, and he's getting cheered instead of booed.
100%.